Hello and welcome back to the Red Path. In today's video we're going to look at the top 3 plays for competitive World Eaters. Okay, so first of all let me know in the comments what you think of the new intro video. Thought I'd try something a bit more exciting than the previous version now that I'm starting to get the hang of video editing software. Okay, so today we're going to look at 3 plays we can make as World Eaters that may give us something close to a competitive edge. If you're a member of the World Eaters Legion Facebook group, you may have heard me talk about some of these before, but stick around anyway because I'm going to break them down in detail. If you're not a member, you should go check it out, the link will be in the description, and while we're at it, if you haven't already, I'd appreciate you smashing that subscribe button with the closest melee weapon to hand, and maybe give a like to the Red Path Facebook page too. Okay, now that the mandatory shilling is over with, let's take a look at the first of the strategies I think World Eaters can use to maximise the limited tools at our disposal. In no particular order, the first list aspect I think we should all at least consider is the Red Butcher Lord. You start with a Chaos Lord in Terminator armour, spend 2 CP to upgrade them to a Red Butcher, which provides them with the Blood for the Blood God special ability, that is, fight twice like Berserkers or Khan, and buffs them with an additional +1 to their strength. Whilst Hero Hammer looks to be less prevalent in 9th edition, whilst we're still in that awkward adolescent stage of playing Knight with an 8th edition codex, let's maximise what we can. So we've spent 2 CP to get some extra killiness and mobility, but how do we equip our Lord? In my opinion, there's 2 ways to go: Murder Death Killer or Objective Squatter. I personally prefer to minimise expenditure here and go for the cheap option of a Combi Bolter, but if you prefer a Melter or Plasma, go for it. For the Murder Death Kill build, grab a Chain Axe and upgrade it to Gorefather. For the Objective Squatter, spend a little more on a Power Axe and upgrade it to the Berserker Glaive. Next comes the Warlord trait. I personally think Battle Lust is probably the go-to optimisation wise, as the fight first element is crucial in 9th edition, and it synergises well with Blood for the Blood God, but the real trophy here is the 6-inch Heroic Intervention. Coupling that with the inherent mobility of Blood for the Blood God turns a slow Terminator into a unit that can get up to 18 inches of movement in your opponent's fight phase. Sadly, with Zoo 4 going to Legends, the prime way to run the Red Butcher Lord is gone, but I still think there's room to make our stock version work. Equipping Gorefather makes your Butcher a threat against everything. 11 attacks on the charge at strength 7, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. Gorefather is -1 to hit, with -2 AP and damage 3, with 3 mortal wounds on 6s, that is going to ruin anyone's day. On the other hand, going with the Glaive provides a 5-up Feel No Pain, rounding your 6 wound Lord into a 2+ save, 4+ invuln and 5-up Feel No Pain, with 11 attacks at strength 6, -2 AP and 2 damage, still not shabby at all damage wise, and will last a little longer holding those objectives. Of course, being only toughness 4 hurts this HQ unit, but with the right investment they can be a very powerful model. Surprisingly mobile and resilient and able to threaten any enemy type, from hordes to knights. Coming in at 99 points for the Chain Axe variant and 103 for the Power Axe option. Next, let's look at one of my favourite competitive plays, the Triple Predator Outflank. This one will almost certainly be going extinct once our codex hits, but for the time being we use what we can. With Khan being one of only 2 Chaos HQs providing full rerolls to failed hits, he surprisingly makes World Eaters remarkably effective in the shooting phase. If you couple that with the supremely undercosted kill shot stratagem, you can unleash some serious firepower. For the cost of Khan and 3 Predators, which totals up to about 595 points, and 4 CP to put the tanks in reserve and get at least 1 kill shot off, you gain the following. On turn 2 or 3 you rush Khan to an exposed flank, or you can outflank him as well, and bring in your 3 Predators from reserve within 6 inches of each other and within 1 inch of Khan. In your shooting phase you spend 1 CP on kill shot, which provides all 3 Predators, and yes, it is all 3. The location of the apostrophe means the stratagem applies to plural Predators, whereas if it were located between the R and S, it would only apply to a single tank. With +1 to damage and +1 to wound against monsters and vehicles, this thing wrecks. That means you're getting an average of 12 autocannon shots hitting on 3s, there's no penalty for moving anymore, you reroll the fails for an average of 11 hits. They're strength 7, so with a +1 to wound, they'll be wounded armour on 3s or toughness 8 models on 4s. That's 5+ wounds. Sure, they lack penetration, but most heavy targets will be stripped to a 50% save and thus fail 2 or 3, which is going to be 8 to 12 damage. Add in the heavy bolters, 18 shots wounding T8 on 4s again, -1 AP but 3 damage due to the buff to heavy bolters. That's a lot more damage against a T8 3-up model. So sure, you've spent the points equivalent of a souped up knight, but you should cripple or kill one in response, and likely get a few more minor kills in the following rounds, and potentially absorb firepower that would otherwise remove your berserkers from play. Yes, it's costly, but the volume of high damage shots with the bizarre accuracy afforded by Khan really makes this a useful gimmick to have in your pocket. But I wouldn't go buying 3 Predators, as like I said, this one's unlikely to survive our Codex release whenever it comes, due to the way the core keyword is looking to work, and Killshot likely not being deemed appropriate anymore. Finally, coming in at 615 points and 3 CP, Slaughter at the Disco, a demon engine combo that will rip and tear through absolutely anything. Remember your frustration when 9th invalidated our Vigilus books and took away our 6-inch Warp Talon charge? Well, never fear. We got that 6-inch charge back, and we got it back in style. Grab yourself a Lord Discordant, stick Violent Urgency on them, and then grab 3 Blood Slaughterers with Impalers and throw those into Strategic Reserve. If you can afford it, stick old Disco in there as well. From turn 2, when you bring these 4 models on, the Disco Lord will provide the Slaughterers with +1 to hit, with them being demon engines. If you equip them each with harpoons, like I told you to, then they will be hitting their targets on 2s within 18 inches. Well, here's the thing, you're going to aim them at targets 9 inches away, and likely hit all 3. Gaining +2 inches to your charges if you hit them, which you should. Then the Disco Lord provides all Legion models with +1 to advance and charges. So your 9-inch charge from reserve, if you deployed correctly, just became a 6-inch charge, which is a lot more reliable and worth risking. And when the Slaughterers get into combat, they each should have 6 Strength 9 -3 Damage 3 attacks that hit on 3s. 2s if your Disco Lord made the charge. So that wraps up this video. I hope I've been able to give you some insight or ideas into how to get the most from a World Eater's army. Let's be honest, we're not competitive. We're not even competitive within Chaos Space Marine sub-factions, but we do have some tricks, and it never hurts to surprise your enemy. As ever, stay safe, stay healthy, and kill main bird.